Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Beck. I'm the CEO of SAASTEPS, and I got alongside with me,
Ron Costa,
who's our co-founder. We've actually been friends for 15 plus years. We met each other actually a long time ago when we worked at separate companies, and we decided to form a company called SAASTEPS, and we wanted to share the vision of our company and what really has transpired over the last 10 to 12 years, which is when the original inception of SAASTEPS, formerly known as Kinetic Growth, actually started.
Yeah, so I think 10, 12 years ago, everything started with the quote to cash. You recall that?
I do.
When the QTC was launched, everybody was, oh, we need a configurator, right?
Yeah, or a CPQ, I guess is what it turned into.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so it's like 10, 12 years ago, businesses were always really up in arms about how do we create a quote faster? How do we get that out to a customer? And so CPQ is what really established, and it happened actually because companies like Big Machines started creating a cool configurator, which was what we know as SaaS hybrid. So it had
Selectica.
Yeah, Selectica was out there, and then we had Firepond, and there's other companies. These are just companies that we've been associated with. And then Aptus showed up, and Aptus did something different. They actually built technology on the Salesforce platform. And that made a bunch of other companies realize, wow, we can do this too. And that's actually where we met a gentleman named Sat Lendy, who I actually used to work with at Big Machines. And he ended up building a technology inside Salesforce because he wanted to give businesses the ability to not just create a quote, but create the bills, the invoices, and the renewals. Because the most important part is collecting the money. And most people take a quote and push that back to an ERP. Whereas his vision was take all of that and keep it inside of your CRM, let salespeople solve these problems. And that's really how we became what we are today is, Ron and I met up and, we basically have been working together since what year, man?
2009, I think was, yeah. I was working at Embraer Executive Jets, getting out of Sales Logics, going into the Salesforce to the cloud now, and then a great paradigm, right? Everybody was against going to the cloud. But then when you made the comparisons about security, I don't know if you recall, but being in the cloud is actually way more secure than keeping everything in-house. So that was a big shift also in change management. But back to the application, I think the biggest thing with SaaS RAM today, this app that started 12 years ago, is probably the only one that effectively helps you manage a renewal, manage a subscription, and everything alongside with it, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we've really taken this company where when we acquired a company back in, let's see, what was that, 2021,
Yeah.
which was Kinetic Growth. We ended up taking that technology and we actually spent 3 years figuring it out because we did not know what the product did after 9 years. And we're like, okay, we have to figure this out. So we spent 3 years working with our customers, understanding the business. Now what we really understand is we truly help people step into SaaS. And it's because when you think about SaaS, it's a big, needle in the haystack, or you want to find the needle in the haystack. It's a big haystack, lots of different things, opportunities that you can, implement into Salesforce. But nobody really took the plan of saying, how do you do it right the first time? So this is where Ron and I kind of came together and we said, we want to help people step into SaaS. Start off with the implementation of Salesforce, connect with SAASTEPS. Let's talk about revenue and how you manage revenue. And that's what we'll kind of talk about in the next couple questions that we have that we're going to go through.
Exactly. And I also see that the fact of being native and stepping into SaaS with an enterprise foundation that, there's obviously a lot of CRMs out there, a lot of applications out there that allegedly do the same thing that we do. But what happens when you want to escalate your business? Stepping into SaaS is truly the only way to escalate your business. What is the biggest avenue out there for sale? The internet.
Yeah.
So I think with SaaSTEPS, there's a lot of customers these days that they think, oh, I need the CPQ because one day my business will be so complex enough
That's a good
that
point.
I'll be able to spend a lot of money with software and it will be super complex. But what ends up happening in most cases is implementations really never gets completed. There's a lot of regression issues. Every week there's a sprint just to manage the tickets, the bugs, and the enhancements needed. So what is the best way, not a better way to step into SaaS, but what is the best way to step into SaaS? Generalization, as well quoted by you.
Yeah, and standardization, because that's what we kind of talk about, So like 10, 12 years ago, companies, we didn't exist. So I mean, for you guys to be able to understand that this is even available, we're actually telling you about it today. But it took us 10 to 12 years to figure this out because 10, 12 years ago, people were just piecing things together. And so we really believe the evolution of SAASTEPS and the vision of SAASTEPS is really to provide a better world to SaaS, like help people get to SaaS in an easier way. And again, we've already spent 10 to 12 years understanding a number of customers' business use cases and not taking those use cases and customizing them. We actually took them and standardized them. And that's why we're able to do the things that we're able to do today, because Ron can go in and very quickly show anybody how our administration, which is where we start off in our demos, is the most powerful piece because it runs our entire solution. Remember, anybody can show you a demo, but if they're really good at SaaS, they'll show you the administration of how they built the demo before they actually show you the demo. What do you think about that, Ron? I mean, we've been changing that up lately.
Yeah, I'm a developer by trade, and I was a customer. I was an enterprise customer with a 8-digit budget, several years ago, and I clearly remember watching demos when we did the request for proposal for the contract lifecycle management project. Companies, they had to follow a very strict script, and I couldn't interrupt. I couldn't ask any questions.
Yeah.
And if I did, oh, we're really not ready for this. We can build you another demo, and then another week goes by. And then
Yeah.
I remember Aptos being native, things were fixed on the fly. Oh, this is what you want to do? Clearly remember you sharing with me that you built our demo back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where we're talking about some of the former companies that I worked at and Ron worked at, because the original way we met was he was my customer and I was the vendor. And over time, we just became friends, which is why we now work together. And that's what we really did, is I have always, as a person, as a sales rep, wanted to be able to prove to my clients that I can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm just a business user. I'm not certified on Salesforce. I don't need those certifications. I just need to be dangerous enough to manage my entire solution.
But how do you do that in the quoting world, right? How can you
I have no
prepare
idea.
and
It's
jump
so
into, a prospect discussion or a customer conversation, and all of a sudden you're doing, let's say, just a normal Netflix-like recurring billing, and then all of a sudden they ask you, oh, can you do consumption billing? Can you do milestone-based billing?
yeah.
Can you do all of that stuff? And when that happens, what do we do in our demo? Okay, no problem. Let me just clean up the data and start over here. This is how you do it. This is how you configure it. So when there's also a big thing, because again, I was a customer back in the day. Always ask the vendor if they use the same solution internally. You'd be surprised that probably not even a third of the vendors out there, they use the same solution that they develop and that they say they are obsessed with. So this is something also very unique about SAASTEPS when you think about it. When we are challenged by a customer, just like we were very recently with a huge, immense amount of line items, we take that internally as a challenge, and sometimes we even do hackathons internally with the engineering team and see how we can overcome all of that, again, allegedly Salesforce limitations that everyone is so scared about it.
Yeah, and that's the difference. I mean, we like to say we eat our own gourmet food, the food that we serve to our customers. We know how it tastes, we know what it looks like, we know everything about it. We know every ingredient that went into that food that we've created for you because we eat it ourselves. And that's really why we say we have this new phrase of the SAASTEPS way. And the SAASTEPS way is really a play off of the Mandalorian. This is the way we do things because we just want to help people. But we started off doing that by helping ourselves first. We didn't want to depend on any consultants or any external resources to do what we need to do to run our business. We designed the technology that ran our business for us. And this is where we like to start talking about with people, what's more meaningful to you and your business, because that's really what we want to know. We don't want to customize your solution. We want to standardize your solution because that's the way you actually accelerate growth versus manage growth. And so that's where we came up with this term, the SAASTEPS way or SaaS RAM. It's like it's the ability for you to, rapidly accelerate your revenue, and you want to do it in the most successful way. And that's why we call it revenue acceleration management and the SAASTEPS way of getting in, standardizing, and ultimately helping your business grow. I mean, Ron, you've seen over the years, what have we done with some of our clients? I mean, the percentages are massive because we automate everything, right, man?
Yeah, I talk technology, and the SAASTEPS way in technology really is understanding what is crucial for you at the end of the day. What do you want to to extract from this ask that you're overly complicating very often. And why do I say overly complicating? Because when you have a project, regardless if you want to implement a quoting solution or a billing solution, you're going to take that to an SI consultant, and then you will notice that when you really break the macro goal into micro objectives, it can be simplified. So the SAASTEPS way in technology, all of our configuration is point and click, drag and drop. You don't need to know JavaScript. You don't need to develop scripts or anything like that to set up a full revenue lifecycle management solution. And when I say full, it's really end to end. You're going to effectively manage add-ons, upsells, downsells, renewals, regardless of the type of billing, even if you have to control assets management, again, as an example. So all of that is possible because we simplified the requirements that are very often overly complicated. But when you think about it, what are really all the avenues that you can sell your product or service? That's going to be online, that's going to be offline. And a lot of people just focus on offline. And why do I say that? Because they have Salesforce as a record database. So a lot of companies created that bureaucracy just to go in Salesforce and complete a checklist. But at the end of the day, when they really need to calculate the quoting, the proration of a deal that is going to be affected by a merge, let's put it that way,
Way of looking at
they
it.
will go to Microsoft Excel.
Exactly.
That's exactly, and calculators. So that's what happens. So we've taken all of that, and we've been able to simplify it with our own flow and process, and we call that the SAASTEP way. And the great thing about it is that it will work for a solopreneur,
Yep.
but it will also work for a company like Cisco, which
Exactly.
is obviously listed in our website. So you're going to use the same technology as an enterprise customer, and you can scale up to that level. So what do we do from here? We help our customers to generate more revenue because they grow with us. This is actually one of our internal KPIs, the year-over-year growth of our customers.
Yeah, which is, I mean, when you start thinking about automating all of your business through the SAASTEPS way, I mean, again, from the first initial handshake of a customer, whether they're buying online, that step will go into our system and we can automate everything afterwards. It's again that Netflix model that Ron talks about. You have a credit card or an ACH payment or an ACH account on your bank account on file for ACH payments. you ultimately can have everything on autopilot. And again, this is what really SaaS is all about. People wanted to automate it, subscription based. It's like set it, forget it, upgrade it, downgrade it. That's what you really want as an end user. And that's what we've actually created, that more importantly, all of you can self-implement. And so when we think about the future of SaaS, like AI is coming up, this is the biggest thing. But I think one of the biggest things around AI that people are still missing is the consolidation effort of getting into a single data model. So one part of the data comes in and it comes out and it's the same thing and you can repeat the process. If you have multiple disparate systems and data in multiple locations, more importantly, AI in all of those locations, how are you going to get anything done? Because everything's going to conflict with each other. And so that's where what we're seeing as the future is consolidation of different tech data stacks. We're seeing streamline your business workflow processes, ultimately manage your data in a way that you can standardize and generalize because it becomes a repeatable process. And these are the things that Ron and I continuously see that are helping companies migrate from the old legacy way of piecing things together, which is totally fine. Don't get me wrong. It's just the way it was back in the day. But we really want to step you into the future and step you into the SAASTEPS way, which is really standardizing it all and putting it all through a single data model and being all declarative. And it's so declarative that even blind people can do this. And that's what we see as the future, is allowing everybody, including everybody, into this world, because the technology is so advanced. It's like AI. If AI can do things in milliseconds, you should be able to run your business end to end without any intervention from any people.
Exactly.
But I don't know, Ron. I mean, what else would you think? That we're doing that's super different in the future of SaaS. I mean,
The thing is, the consumer database, they are expecting automation, they're expecting accuracy, and oftentimes it's better to get that information from an AI rather than a human, because the AI has direct access to the database. And why, it's important for us to have a clean data model, because this is the truly only way for full automation and consolidation. So again, the whole consumer database is going towards one way, which is automating self-service, being easy to do business with, being easy to do business with. So again, everything connects at the end, and you can see the whole story here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is just a little introduction to what we're doing. This is one of our first podcasts. We're really trying to introduce the world to what we're doing. Ron and I are actually sitting in Boston right now. We came out here for a podcast interview, and then, believe it or not, one of our customers was on vacation, and we got to spend a night with her last night, talking about all the good times and, really enjoying life and talking about how life has really gotten more simple when you standardize things and you take out the complexities in life, which I think all of us can relate to. So we really appreciate you taking the time to, listen to Ron and I. We're very proud co-founders, of course, like most co-founders, but we're equally excited to share with the world what we've done, which is why we actually are providing a free trial to anybody that's interested. You literally just need a Salesforce sandbox. We'll work with you. We'll download our app into it. You don't even need a contract. We want you to really understand our world. And if you like it, you can do a contract and we'll move the entire sandbox into the production. And you're ready to go. I mean, your implementation will be done because you self-implemented it. This is really what we believe SaaS is for the future, is you don't need large consulting companies to manage your business. Businesses should have learned over the last 10, 12, 20 years how to standardize everything. And that's what we've done. So really appreciate all of you. And we look forward to connecting with all of you in the future.